Welkom, één en al. Dit is het programma Eigen Pad. Deze show bespreekt de onderwerpen van menselijke bewustzijn, moraliteit, manipulatie, natuurwetten, het occulte en alle kwesties die de vrijheid van de mensen op aarde beïnvloeden. Mijn naam is Glenn Tramm van thegreatworkexperience.com en ik ben je gastheer voor vandaag. Welkom allemaal. Goeiedag, Altagracia, Vanilla. Hoe gaat het allemaal? Pika pika. Ja, we gaan een hele interessante dag vandaag. Krijgen we vandaag. Laat me even mijn sheets erbij pakken, mensen. Want we gaan heel snel er doorheen, want we hebben iemand vandaag, Marja West. En die ga ik zo presenteren. Even kijken. Laat me even kijken voor de studio, voor mijn sheets. Lukt het? Ja, oké. Dus ik wil eventjes heel snel erover hebben. Jullie krijgen al mijn werk op thegreatworkexperience.com. Ga daar naartoe, krijg je mijn podcast, artikelen, media en RSS-feed. RSS-feed is eigenlijk een link waar je dan kan plaatsen in je podcastspeler, je software. En dan krijg je alle afleveringen, zeg maar, op alfabetische volgorde als het goed is. Dus dan kan je daar ook. Maar als je dat niet hebt, dan kan je naar de website toe. Dat is een hub voor al mijn materiaal. En niet vergeten, mijn materiaal is een puzzelwerk. Dus dat betekent, de kennis van vandaag heb je eigenlijk de vorige kennis nodig om compleet de plaatje te krijgen. Om compleet de totaliteit te begrijpen. Dus wees daar op de hoogte. Dus ga niet alleen maar deze show kijken en denken van, oh, ik weet alles. En dan ga je verder iets bespreken en uitleggen dat niet zo bedoeld is. Oké? Even kijken. Ja, oké. Dus je krijgt dan zeg maar al mijn materiaal daar. Dus elke podcast, elke artikel en zelfs elke seizoen die ik heb, zal een stap verder brengen om het leven, vrijheid en moraliteit en waarheid beter te begrijpen. Dus het idee is dat mensen nog steeds niet de basisdingen weten. We zijn eigenlijk kinderen in volwassen lichamen. Ja? De basisconcepten van ons bestaan kunnen we niet eens in één zin antwoorden. Dus wat ik doe is, ik neem je eigenlijk bij de hand. Je hoeft niet alles te geloven wat ik zeg, maar tenminste heb je de informatie, je hebt tenminste de woorden. Je kan zelf voor jezelf gaan zoeken. Dat is ook een beetje mijn hoop. Want het heeft te maken met de leerbaarheid. Want de leerbaarheid, even kijken. Want een persoon kan rigide twijfels hebben. Je kan ook naïef zijn en goedgelovig. Dus als ik iets praat en je bent goedgelovig en je gaat niet verder zoeken, dat wil ik ook niet. Ja, ik wil mensen zijn die hoog leerbaarheid hebben. En dat is, als je gezonde twijfels hebt, je gaat zelf zoeken. Je hebt een open geest, dus je gaat niet meteen maar... Er zijn mensen die op het moment dat ik zeg van, ja, bijvoorbeeld religie is satanisch of iets in die geest, dan gaan ze al weg. Ze gaan weg van de show. Nee, je moet open geest houden. Luister gewoon en dan ga zelf zoeken. Goedenavond, Florencia Bonocci, hoe gaat het? Ja, dus... Je moet ook een houding hebben van willen leren. Dus dat is echt heel belangrijk. Even heel snel. Dag Florencia. En mijn laatste punt voordat ik Marja in de show breng, is dat jullie kunnen gaan registreren om meer informatie te krijgen over deze shows. Als je dat leuk vindt, ik stuur je alleen maar in het kader van de studies die ik zelf heb gedaan, krijg je dan e-mails. En dan kan je zelf vervolgens verder met jouw eigen studie. Want wij zijn eigenlijk studenten. En voor de mensen die dan naar school zijn gegaan en een hogere opleiding hebben gekregen, diploma, certificaten, et cetera. Ik heb niet zo leuke nieuws voor jullie. Want je bent nooit klaar met leren. Oké? Zelfs als je dat hebt gedaan, in fact, je hebt alleen maar de linkergedeelte van je hersenen ontwikkeld. Deels ook. Ja? Als je naar school gaat. Dus... je blijft leren. En vooral, ik wil een holistische leersysteem brengen, zo goed mogelijk ik het kan. Want ik heb bepaalde informatie en die wil ik zeg maar daar buiten zetten. Nou, we hebben het eigenlijk over waarom zijn we in de matrix. De afgelopen 2 weken hebben we het daarover gehad. We hebben Nikki ook vorige week in de show gebracht om meer over haar ervaring hierover te hebben. Vooral over de illusie van normaal. Maar vandaag hebben we een speciale gast. En ik ben eigenlijk vereerd dat zij mij 4 keer, zeg maar, dit is de 2e keer dat ik haar in de show breng. En ik ben eigenlijk heel erg dankbaar, want zij is ze zit vol met kennis. Je ziet ook, als je haar ziet praten, ze brengt je zeg maar overal in de diepte in, weer naar boven toe, weer naar beneden toe. Maar Marja West is een op trauma gebaseerde Mind Control DeActivator. Vandaag gaan we ook hebben over Mind Control. Ze is een auteur van het boek Fucked Wide Open. Ze beschouwt zichzelf niet als een guru, ik ook niet trouwens. Ze is een niet-guru, maar spirituele leraar, ook bekend als The Way Shower. Myra, how are you? How are you?
I'm very good. I'm very good. How are you?
I'm happy again because you are here to share your knowledge with us. I'm very, very happy and honored. I just talked to the students and told them, to our audience, that we are very honored having you here again.
Thank you. My pleasure.
Yeah, because we want you to bring your light also to Holland and in the Caribbean parts of Holland. And we are very happy to have you here. And I was just telling the audience as well that you are a trauma-based deactivator. I love that term. I love that term because we're going to start talking about trauma-based mind control, because I want you to share a little bit about yourself. I want you to, first of all, welcome, Marja.
Thank you so much, Rita.
I want you to, first of all, start telling those who didn't see your first podcast with me, tell them a little bit about yourself, just briefly, okay? And then tell us a little bit about your role as a person in terms of trauma-based mind control deactivator. So what you're doing, and I want you to give us as well your website, your information, so people can reach out to you as well.
Okay.
And Myra, yeah, so I want you to start doing that. So go ahead. Thank you, Myra.
Right. So I was raised by a single mother who was a psychopath, from the realms where she had suffered much trauma.
Yeah.
My mother is Filipina, and so during World War II, she had to go underground because her family was on the so-called hit list during the war. And so that caused her to really dissociate and get disconnected from her mind, her heart, and her body. And what that does, because this is what the Matrix does to us, is that it divides us into the realm of our mind, hearts, and bodies, where we're no longer integrated. And when we're not integrated, it makes it easier for us to be abusers. So my childhood was just filled with this craziness, and I utilized that as a trigger to kind of wake up and realize that I was on my own and that I couldn't rely on my family to really take care of me and to make sure I was not going to be harmed, because it was my family that was harming me. So that's one of the things that I want to really stress, is that our first issuance of trauma is quite often with our families of origin, unless, of course, we are raised by parents who are wide awake and have escaped the Matrix. But the likelihood of that is very, very nil, simply because the Matrix is all about control. It is all about trauma-based mind control. And the mind control, the heart control, also the control in the body, I call them the 3 cages of trauma, which controls every human being on the planet that is not aware that they are asleep in the Matrix. And that is how the Matrix controls us, is through harming us in our minds, harming us in our hearts, and harming our bodies, and also a combination of all 3 going on at the same time. So when that's going on, it's going to be very, very difficult to tell the difference between who you are and who you are according to the Matrix, because the Matrix is going to tell you who and what you are what you can and cannot do. And if you do the shit that you're not supposed to do, there will be consequences. You will be harmed, you'll be killed, you'll be tortured, you'll be abused, you won't be loved, you won't belong to a family, to a community, you'll be on your own, you'll be broke, you'll be homeless, you name it. You'll be in the middle of a war, or you'll be in the middle, as we all have over the last 2 years, be victims of the 7 nonsense shit show. That's what I call it. All the things about the pandemic, whatever you want to call it. I don't even want to call it anything, because I don't want to give it that kind of energy. And so the whole thing of waking up to who you are, who and what you are, the best way to do that is to use your traumas as activators to wake up and own your attention. So last time I talked about how in the Matrix either owns our attention or we do. Okay, so we have 3 attention centers. The outer screen, which is what you witness in the Matrix outside of yourself. We also have the inner screen, which is what goes on in our heads, all of that shit that goes on in our heads based on what we're looking at outside of ourselves. There's also the center screen. This is our attention center. So if we can reside here, as opposed to giving our attention to the outer screen or the inner screen, this is what it means to be awake. Okay. And New Age bullshit is saying that in order to be awake, you have to be special, and angels are going to come and blare their trumpets and you're special. No, spiritual awakening is our true nature. And the Matrix wants to trick us into believing whatever it tells us we are. It's not the truth. It's a big fat lie. Okay. And so our first traumas are with our parents, with our family of origin. But even before that, when we are conceived, I say this, and I get into a lot of trouble, we are all programmed and mind controlled to be sex slaves the moment we are conceived. And so in terms of sexuality, it is the lowest common denominator of all humans. It is one of the ways that we are conditioned, mind controlled to be stuck, sound asleep in the Matrix. And so when we find ourselves sound asleep in the Matrix, they win. They win. We have to know the difference between being sound asleep in the Matrix and giving our attention to the Matrix. And we have to learn that by waking ourselves up and seeing ourselves, seeing reality, and entering into the center screen, that gives each and every one of us the power, the superpower of owning our attention, so that the Matrix and all of its shit shows, its mind controls, its dramas, have no charge, no control over us. And people don't talk about this. I'm practically the only one talking about this. There are more and more and more people talking about it, because more and more of us are waking up to the fact that when it feels off, okay, when you're watching the news and it feels off, when you feel like you're being lied to, when you feel like you're not being told the complete story, whether it's about 7 nonsense, whether it's about chemtrails, whether it's about whatever, because you know in your heart, you know in your soul that something is off and you're being lied to, okay? All of the controls in the Matrix, one of the ways they do it is they gaslight us. The moment we start asking questions, we are told that we're crazy, that we're not scientists, we're not experts, we don't know anything, and we should just shut the fuck up, okay? We can't be doing that. We have to ask questions. If you think it's off, it's because it is off. Now, one of the controls in trauma-based mind control, in the Matrix, we only have 5 senses. We actually have 7 senses, right?
Yeah.
And what is the breaker? The one key that will unslave all of humanity is here. It's our third eye. It's our
So I have one, because you were talking, because you said a lot there. So that's thank you for that. Yeah, yeah. But we are going to go two steps back a little bit, because I just wanted to amplify on the comment you did about that if you don't do what they tell you to do,
yes.
they always tell you that there's consequences.
Yes.
That they're going to start censoring people. They're going to start in the ancient times they started even to kill people. And I wouldn't say they don't do it now, because I cannot prove it, but I do believe that they're still killing people as well.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah. So
The sex trafficking, the organ trafficking, the drug trafficking, the gun trafficking. This is all about control.
yeah. So what I wanted to tell the audience as well is that what Marja is really clearly saying is as well, and I stand behind this statement, is that every time there is a certain type of control, there will always be consequences if you don't do what you're told to be done, to do. And the consequences are most of the time not in your benefit, so it's a disadvantage. So because they want to exercise a indirect way of controlling you. So they're going to tell you, oh, you have a free will, and so but you have to do it. You're not forced to do it. But the measurements that they're taking is basically they are forcing you to do it. So otherwise, you cannot do anything, and that also is immoral. So I just wanted to mention that part, because I think that part is a very essential, because why we are in the matrix is this is all about trauma. So one way or the other, I want you to go back at least a little bit, because I want you to tell the audience as well, Marja, about trauma. When are you considered to have a trauma? Do you have an explanation for that? So how do we very easily explain to people, look, this is trauma-based mind control, what you're going through? So if you can give us that definition, please go ahead.
So one of the things with trauma-based mind control, as I said, our first trauma, most of us, unless we are born to parents who are spiritually awakened and out of the matrix, is our family of origin, because our parents, our first interface with the divine masculine and feminine principles in both men and women. So if we grow up with an abusive mother and an abusive father, we are going to learn how to distrust the feminine, how to distrust the masculine. And trauma is all about divide and conquer, starting with yourself. So we get trained, we get mind controlled into believing there's something wrong with us. Okay. If we're not like mom or dad, or if we're like mom and dad, there's something wrong with us. So that divide and conquer, the split between your feminine and your masculine and your feminine, your being and your doing, between your mind and your heart, and in your mind between left brain and right brain. Okay. The divide and conquer. This is the means through which the matrix, I call them the powers that want to be, can control, and they do control humanity. Because when we are controlled like that and we are divided, okay, we are easily susceptible to their controls, okay? Because you're either a victim or you're a perpetrator, or you're both, depending on the context of what you are relating to, okay? Which is why some people just grow up to be abusers constantly, while others are victims. So the polarity of victim and perpetrator, more divide and conquer. All right. One of the most common mind controls that goes on in the matrix is the war between the sexes, the war between masculine and feminine.
See, so what you're saying is most of the time is like, if you have so the moment we are born, this is interesting, guys, because what she's saying is basically the moment you are born, the division starts from birth. The division between the masculine force and the feminine force. And the masculine, and the masculine is representative of your father, and the feminine representative of your mother. That division starts already there, and then it becomes something also internalized. So your division inside from your right and left brain is also going to be, because this is I can see this because I give as well in my podcast a very clear definition about the left and right brain hemisphere, how they are, how they work. Like the right brain is more creative, more artistic part of your brain, and the left brain is more the logic part of the brain. In general, of course, the brain is a very complex, complex organ. But in general, this is what science as well take as measurement of the left and the right brain.
Right.
And then you will have people that are very artistic. So you only develop the right brain side of the brain.
Right.
There are people very logic, so very left side brain of the brain. So
make it very static. They make it very static. They don't include the fact that we are both masculine and feminine, regardless of whether we're male or female.
And true.
They make sure that if you're masculine, you're masculine. If you're feminine, you're feminine. And if you divert from this concretize, it could just be like this. There must be something wrong with you. So
would you say
get us to forget that we are both masculine and feminine? That masculine and feminine is not a man or a woman. It is.
So would you say? So Marja, would you say as well then that because these two are separated, right? That people will be confused inside. So there are a lot of people as well. They are really confused about almost everything. So would you say that this is also a contribution to that? What are your thoughts about that?
Absolutely. They want us confused. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So because if you are confused,
start mind control.
That's the start of it. Yeah. So because they want you
the moment that we are conceived.
Yeah. So what would you say? So tell us a little bit, because you were. Yeah. So you were talking about in the beginning about the divine parts of the humanity, of the human species. So can you elaborate on that? Because you're talking about the divine male and divine female. Because most of us, and especially if you're went to church and you grow up in a religious setting, you only thought about the male divinity, which is the Father, who is the giver of everything, basically. Right. And then they're not talking about because most religious are focusing on the male aspect.
Right.
And before I would even say, from my studies, I understood that there were before only the feminine divine aspect were giving focus. But I think there is time that we bring both into focus. I think that but talk a little bit about the divinity of the humanity, if you will.
Absolutely. Because, religion is another form of mind control. It's a distortion. It's a distortion of unity consciousness. So unity consciousness is the Trinity. It's mother, father, sacred child, which is the union of the masculine and feminine. It's creation. We are here to move formless into form as men and women. Regardless of our gender, we are here to move formless into form, which is why the integration of the masculine and feminine within each of us, and the way the matrix sets it up is that, we're bad. If me as a woman, I'm too masculine, then I'm a ball busting bitch, and I can't be trusted.
Yeah.
And if a man is in his feminine, he cries, he can't be trusted. You see, the distortion, we're here to create. And in the mate, you're either a victim or a perpetrator.
Yeah, so because
And
both of them is needed, right? So the masculine and the feminine side is needed, and one of the way we are still in the matrix is through these divisions. This is why we're talking about these things, guys. So this division causes us to
yes,
stay in the matrix, because now you will have this
yes,
um, Hegelian dialectic kind of
right.
dynamic.
Polarization.
The
Yes,
polarization, yeah.
yeah,
So this polarization has to stop. So the
yeah.
moment we start working together instead of separating together, the vaxxers and the anti-vaxxers, the vegan ones or the anti-vegan ones,
Exactly. It's
the
ridiculous. Yeah.
yeah.
It's the
So I just
left
want,
paradigm.
it is always left right. The thing is that we need to reach a balance. This is what we're talking about: bringing the divine feminine and bringing the divine masculine together. I
Yes.
think once that is reached, humanity will start seeing an increase in our livelihood and lifespan. And
Yeah.
I think everything will start going forward. I was talking. I'm just going to share this with you, Maria, and also the rest
Okay.
with the audience. I was talking to a friend last time, and I was telling him, listen, we're not even living 5% of our capacity. I
Mm,
believe that the human potential is way more. That is the reason why I'm doing these consciousness studies, because the potential of the human race is way beyond. We think that we really need this device called a mobile, or we think we need this thing called a computer. That I think, and I almost certainly can say that the studies are referring to me that the human species can reach way higher capacities that you cannot even imagine.
absolutely.
So yeah, so thinking about like sending, we can, because our body itself is electric. A lot of people don't understand that. So because our brain is electric, everything is through an electric circuits is going to be communicated with your body. So your body is an extension of your mind. So, and it's a receiver. So this is something that is connected to
Yes.
the higher consciousness. So through that receiver, I can send messages as well. So I don't have to have a mobile phone. The
Yes.
point is, we never develop
Yes.
um, these muscles. Let's call it
No.
that. We never
That's why
develop these
it's
muscles.
integration. And in the matrix, here's the thing. In the matrix has humanity separated as either receivers or transmitters. Okay. The
Yeah,
transmitters are usually the ones that are in charge. They're telling everybody what to do. The receivers are the ones that are like,
the
they're
sheeps. Yeah,
frozen. They're frozen. In actuality, the awakened human is a receiver and a
both
transmitter.
the feminine and the masculine. Yeah,
Creation. This
yeah,
is the creation. Everything that the potential creative energy, the unseen is the masculine. The masculine is activated by desire, by need, by inspiration, by want, by
yeah,
necessity to create into form. Everything that's form is an expression of feminine energy, which is, and everything in form is the masculine unmanifested energy made manifest. And so that fucks with people. The matrix doesn't want you to know this, which
no,
is why
that's
it
true.
has to traumatize us into giving up our sovereignty, giving up our creativity, believing that, oh, we can't create because we're not special enough. We don't come from elite families. We don't have
Yeah,
any money. We don't have technology. Bullshit.
it's
It's
bullshit. Yeah.
it's nuts. It's totally nuts. So I'm
So
with you.
So just tell me a little bit about this, because you were talking about this feminine side and the masculine side,
Yes.
because I want to amplify on that a little bit and be a little
Yes.
bit more even. Okay,
So
because I want the people to understand that they are killing basically both. I think the matrix shows us that there is specifically the feminine force is being killed, the caring, the love that we
yes.
have that we should have for each other.
Yes.
Um, is being killed. But I think as well, killing the feminine is basically indirectly, I believe, killing the masculine as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. We birth the feminine essence. Woman gives birth to humanity.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I know I offend a lot of people, especially the sort of progressive, I call it the progressivism of men now claiming to go through pregnancy and giving birth. It's like, you know, whatever. I'm not even going to go there, because that in and of itself is another distraction.
It's a mind control. Yeah.
That gets us to divide again. So here's the thing about the masculine and feminine within both men and women, regardless of whether you are a man or a woman. And this is basic. Once you integrate this, whether you're a man or a woman, you're not going to be stoppable. The matrix will no longer stop you, because you'll start understanding that when you are expressing masculine energy, whether you're a man or a woman, that masculine energy is about action, inspired action, active stillness, not making a move until there is clarity. That requires the left-right brain synchronization. It also requires the activation of your sixth sense, your intuition. And of course, in the matrix, because there's only five senses, they completely will deny the third eye, our intuition, our psychic abilities. No such thing. And because they deny that, they deny our ability to care.
Well, they say, and I have to, but I have to break you. The reason why they're saying that it doesn't exist, and I love this thing, because it shows you again that what we have right now in the world is not really science. It's more like a finance science kind of a way, because what they are saying, Marja, is that if you cannot see it, or if you cannot experience it through the five senses, then it must not exist. But that is one of the pillars of science. So they're saying already, like they are making themselves short. They're saying already, this is the reason we're going to look only through five senses.
Yes.
This is basically the reason why they are rejecting the rest.
Absolutely.
And I say, but what are your thoughts about it? So I just, because look, in Holland we have a lot of left brainers. So the left brainers, they look at statistics. Everything has to be logic. You see what I mean?
Yes.
And what I want to bring over is that we have more senses, because you talk about in the first show, you talk about the sixth and the seventh sense.
Yes.
Which I absolutely agree with. The only difference that I have with you is I said you get a hunch. I call it a hunch, and a gut feeling, which is your intuition. Yes. You said you talk about intuition and love, care.
That is the integration of heart, mind, body, soul,
and soul.
Yeah. So that's the integration of all that. Integrated, because we're spirit having a human experience. So there is the intuition. There's also the body that is responding to the energy that you're feeling. And we're being gaslighted by having our reality perception managed. That's what I call it. We don't have seven senses. We only have five. So, you know, what your hunch, your gut feeling, your whatever, your intuition, your psychic sight is bullshit. And people are buying it thanks to the Church of Scientism. You know, they want to deny. And yet, I know all of you out there, every time you've denied a hunch, you've denied a hit, your psychic hit, it's come back to bite you on the butt.
On the butt. Because people, the thing I understand is that people think that ideas that they get is more or less from themselves. But most of the time, especially when you get a hunch, it's just because your receiver, which is your mind, is in tune with higher consciousness.
Yes.
And then you and then something comes in and gives you some light on some issue that
That
you
is
want.
our true nature outside of the matrix in the true quantum field creation field universe of all that is known and yet to be known.
To be
And
known, yeah.
the matrix is tricky because this is the whole thing about trauma. And this is one of the things that I want to like really put forth. Instead of being afraid of our traumas, we need to utilize the moment we get triggered by a trauma to wake ourselves up, exit the matrix, and enter into our center screens, our true quantum field creation field universe. And by doing that, you get to compose your reality so that your layer of the universe conforms to what it is that you want, and you are out of the matrix. You no longer obey its automated scripts.
Yeah.
Because that's the matrix. It's totally scripted.
Yeah. So the whole idea, guys, is that you will have to stop looking at the what she's called the inner screen, which is the lies that they are feeding to your.
So that's the stuff
mind control
in our heads based on what we witness out in the world. Remember, the world is the matrix. It's not the planet. The planet is the true quantum field creation field universe.
What she means, because I think you have to explain as well the quantum field.
Yes.
Because what she means with the quantum field is the place of creation. It's the place that everything is possible. Okay, so the planet is the place where everything is possible. So where what you are seeing right now is the sum culmination of all of our reality, the things that we have projected outside of ourselves into the planet. That is what we are seeing now. So basically, so I'm going to translate this even more easier so people can understand. What she's saying is that if we have a hunger in the world, it's your fault. I didn't say it. She said it. Or like this. She said it. Yeah. So if there is a rape and those kind of things, it is because we collectively are allowing these things to manifest through our belief system and our fear. Because this is and the division, divide and conquer. And then you're talking about the mind cage, the heart cage, and the body cage. So this is what I call the connection between the body, mind, and soul. Okay. So they attack all three of them, guys.
Oh yeah, and they want us divided. They don't want us. The moment we get integrated and we live from heart, mind, body, soul coordination, they're ruined. They're ruined.
Yeah.
They cannot affect you because you're awake. You're awake. You realize that you are infinite loving awareness and consciousness having a human experience, and you are actually creating your reality on purpose based on the fact that you embody that you are here to create formless into form. You're not here to be in the matrix and follow their fucking rules.
No. In fact, those are all kinds of methods. I call them the methods to get us all into this box. We have to conform to this box of things that, the culture determined a box, the religion determined a box, politics determined a box. We really need to get out of these boxes because we are also individual expressions of the unity of divinity, which is the masculine and the feminine force. So we need to get out of these boxes, right? I love how you explaining this because so we can be very clear about it. So just get out of these boxes and experience life, experience the planet instead of following man-made rules that does not benefit none of us. In fact, the only thing that they're doing now is destroying the planet because then they are afraid of anarchy. They are afraid of anarchy and they're destroying the planet. People are destroying the planet right now. So it looks like humanity has forgotten who they are. So
absolutely, yes, we have forgotten who we are. That is that amnesia that once we're born, you know, I remember as a little child, you know, getting yelled at and getting smacked around, like thinking, why is she doing this? You know, I'm a child of God. What is this? What is this? Like, I knew something was off, you know, and as I got older, you know, just witnessing children, like, who could do that? You have to be so far away from your humanity to abuse a child, to abuse another human being. It makes no sense to me, you know.
And now it's abusive of children is all over the place.
Yes.
I mean, they are sacrificing children, and this is what I tell people as well. There are children right now, and I think right now as well we are in the middle of the spring equinox. We are going into Walpurgisnacht in the 1st of May. So this is like the high season for people.
High season of sacrifice.
Of sacrifice.
This shit has been going on for millennia.
Yeah. And I cannot fathom people still just doing nothing about it. So they are so asleep. Oh, as long as I can eat and have my bed. I mean,
when we go into all the shit that's going on in Hollywood, right? All these people that are blood sucking. I mean, literally. Well, and that's how we divide one another, is we dangle these carrots of so-called power over another human being, and people go for it. They go for it because they want to be eternally beautiful. They want power. They want fame and fortune at the expense
of another
human beings. It's disgusting.
It's disgusting.
Evil.
Yeah, because this is the lesson. As long as there are people that are in love with control, that they want to control others, especially.
Yes.
We will keep having slavery. We will keep having
that divide of victim and perpetrator.
Yeah, that is one of the key main things. Is control. The matrix is control, and that is which keeps us as well in bondage. That is why, because when I talk to my audience, sometimes if I start saying like, oh, we have to remove religion and we have to remove governments and we have to remove all these institutions, people stop looking at my program, which I don't give a fuck, because I said always, the truth still needs to be said.
Yes.
Okay.
Well,
so the truth needs a voice. The truth needs a voice. That's the whole thing.
Yeah.
And it doesn't have a voice. Yeah. So we will have to give it a voice in massive. Right. But these institutions are all about control. So as long as there is a need for control, there will be slavery.
Yes.
We will stay in the matrix, because the matrix are these mind-created institutions.
Yes.
Because where is the government? Oh yeah, they say in Den Haag, which is the place where the government is in Holland, not in Amsterdam, by the way. So it's in The Hague. Okay. So, but there are some people there, but where is the government? What is the government? It is something that we create in our mind. Some people come together and they sit down there and speak bullshit the whole time about how they're going to control us and give us rules and more rules. And this is also the paradox of the whole matter. We think we have a democracy and we need the government for freedom. But the government, per definition, brings more rules. Per definition, because they are there to create these fucking rules.
Yeah, exactly.
So how can you be free and having all these kind of boxes that you can have to operate? Yeah. I'm not saying, and to be very clear, I'm not saying that we should not have rules. I think we should have rules, but we should not have rulers. That should go.
I agree.
Yeah?
I agree.
Because the more rulers we have, by law, we don't need these rulers by law. And I know that there will be people that will always say, yeah, but we will need a kind of government. Okay, so that means that the right side of the brain is not there yet.
Yes.
Yeah, the creative part, because the idea is that we will have collectively to think of something else that will benefit our reality, our growth in consciousness, and not this bullshit that we have right now. So just tell me a little bit about, because you were talking, Marja, about the that we are all programmed as sex slaves. That's an interesting concept.
Yes.
So I just want you to tell us a little bit more about that. So how are your views about being programmed as sex slave, like from the start, from little kids?
From get-go. I mean, when you think about it, the whole thing about even color of clothing, blue booties, pink booties, all of that. And depending on your family situation, what was your mother like? What was your father like? These are what we witness, and we tend to imitate, we tend to emulate, we tend to copy one another. Or if we're media driven, I know I grew up with a lot of television in the 60s. And I was confused. I was like, well, you know what? I want to wear pearls. I want to wear pearls and a really pretty dress and, you know, drink martinis when dad comes home, all that kind of stuff. It's bullshit. It's complete bullshit because it doesn't allow for a true expression of who you are, whether you're a man or a woman. And we get very confused because we think it's supposed to be like this or like that, but yet we're like this, and it's completely different. And so, and I use the term sex slaves in a very broad term because not all of us get kidnapped. A lot of us are not trafficked. We're not chained to a soiled bed. We're not raped and tortured constantly. But in our own world, our own reality of sexuality, there's confusion of sexuality. There's all these impositions about this, that, and the other thing. I mean, the gender divide. I was barred from speaking in Toronto because I would not sign a piece of paper that had me acknowledging 92 plus pronouns. I mean, I was just like,
shocked.
What the fuck? Like, what does that even mean? But here's the confusion. And then, of course, when you have masculine and feminine going at each other, and you have the polarity of the patriarchy, ooh, bad men, and the matriarchy, and we start talking about toxic masculinity and feminine because they're both fucking toxic, okay? I'm not here to blame men. I'm not here to blame women. Okay, I don't believe that by virtue of the fact that men who have penises are all rapists. That's bullshit. Just like I don't believe all women, because I'm going to tell you, the head of the demonic cabal is a woman.
Is a woman.
As a person who has been involved in hand-holding survivors of human trafficking, generational, etc., the worst of the worst of the worst of humanity that I've seen have been from women who have lost touch with their femininity. They're so embodied in toxic masculinity as perpetrators, or they're overwhelmed by their own greed and vanity.
And this is
disgusting.
There's an interesting point that you're mentioning, because I call myself a feminist, to be honest, because I am a very fervent believer in the idea that we can reach, humanity as a whole can reach salvation, let's call it that, let's use that term, through women. I'm a fervent believer of that because I know that the women are being attacked. And I believe that the moment the women start gaining back their femininity, gaining back their position in creation, that the men have no other choice but to follow. Because I said always that the female influence the male. It is the water that can calm the fire. Like fire is the masculine force and water is the feminine force. You cannot calm the fire with fire. You have to calm it with water. Water is the perfect balancer. So the moment, I really believe in the female force being restored. That's why I bring you here so people can have as well an example. I always said, Marja, people don't have to agree 100% on what I say. I'm not looking for that either. But what I do look for, at least with these lessons, is that we will come to the position that we will say, Doesn't matter your gender, doesn't matter your sex, doesn't matter anything, your preferences. It only matters this, is that we all agree that we are all free.
Yes.
And that there is no one party that is above another party who is telling the one other party to do what the fuck the other party wants to be done.
Exactly.
Because that is something that makes me super, super, super irritated. Okay? Yeah, I will become a fucking monster. And then I will need women to say, Glenn, calm down. But only wise women, because I don't think that's going to be.
Well, here's the thing about women. This is what needs to happen to women, is that they need to wake up, recognize the trauma that they have, because the imbalance of women is that most women are either victims or they're perpetrators. And the ones who are perpetrators have embodied toxic masculinity from the, and I'm going to say it, from the unconscious sexual relations that they're having with unqualified men. Okay,
So
that is part of our sex slavery, is that we are not worthy human beings unless we're having sex with anyone, not a conscious person, but
that's
anyone.
an interesting concept. That's an interesting concept.
It is so right, and I get so much shit for saying that kind of stuff. You know.
No, you can say it here. You can say it here.
Because here, as conscious women are the gatekeepers to conscious presence on the planet. In other words, they need to keep their asses in check. Their masculine and feminine within need to be in balance. And they need to have their traumas and their emotional wants and needs and that programming that was in the matrix in check. Because if a woman who's so-called empowered is pining over, she's not having sex with a man, and then she lowers herself when she's attracted to a man who is not qualified to be around her, let alone inside her body, that's the problem. Okay? And I always tell women who work in my classes or take my courses about the awakened feminine, the men take it too, that if you are not willing to forego sexual relations until you are with a conscious partner, even if that means you never have sexual relations again, that's what I call being an awakened human being, because you don't get sucked in to the trauma-based mind control of the matrix. And here's the thing, I call it trauma deactivation because you never get rid of it. You deactivate it. And the only way you deactivate it is being outside of the matrix. If you're stuck in the matrix, you're in your trauma. Okay? Yeah. So by owning our attention and really seeing reality and seeing yourself, knowing yourself so well that you know when your traumas are being tricked. And triggered, what you're doing. This is really important for everybody to hear. What is waltzing in and out of the matrix and the true quantum field, creation field universe is your attention, your consciousness.
Yeah. That keeps you, that is what brought us here, and it will keep you there as well. So your conscious awareness of where you are, who you are. That is the thing. People don't know who they are anymore. They don't know that their divinity. They lost their divinity because they just robbed them from the childhood. They rob people from this divinity. We are animals. This is the only thing we hear. We are animals. But people should start understanding that we are also divine. We are both. We are because we have consciousness.
Yes.
Because we have intelligence, we can reason, we can understand the difference between right and wrong. Now, I said we can understand because not everybody do understand it yet. Yeah, that is also one of my goals with the show as well, to bring people to the position that they can very quickly understand what is right and what is wrong. But Marja, I want you to amplify a little bit more before we start about the because you are talking about sexual relationships, right?
Yes.
And that is also something that hurts, or one way or the other prevent or keep the trauma in the female
Yes, yes, yes,
person.
because we receive that energy. The feminine is magnetic. The masculine is electric. So as a feminine, as a woman, I have more experience because I'm in a female body. That doesn't mean that I don't have any masculine energy, because the masculine part of us is the doer, whether you're a man or a woman.
Precisely, yeah.
So for me, I'm very good at going from point A to point B. I have a very strong masculine presence, but I'm also very feminine. Okay.
Yeah.
One of the things that we have to understand, and this really just trips people out, masculine energy is a projective energy. You're going from your heart towards someone, towards a cause, towards an idea. That is, if you are conscious of it. Okay.
Yeah.
And the feminine is the receptive principle. Okay. So when it comes to nurturing, and this is the thing that trips me out about women who are so enraged about child rearing, they're enraged because their feminine is exhausted, because their masculine is the one that's doing all of the nurturing. Nurturing is actually an expression of masculine energy, because you're moving from within, outside yourself, toward a child, toward a cause, toward your family, whatever it is. Okay. And the men are doing it too. The men are doing it too. So that is an important distinction that we need to really be awake to. Okay. And also, as a receptive person in a female body, anytime we have unconscious sex, there's a difference between unconscious and conscious sex. Okay. Unconscious sex is a free-for-all, and we are being brainwashed by
that is good.
Free sex and free love and sex positiveness, that it's okay to fuck our brains out with whomever and however and with a bunch of people, and that's freedom. That's fucking stupid. Give me a break. It's so dumb. It's not enlightened. It's not enlightened. And when you wake up to what it is that you're doing by receiving somebody's energy, and the men do this too. The men do this too. This is not just about a vagina. This is also about the phallus, the penis. Where are you going? What are you putting yourself into? Who is this person? What is their energy? What is their consciousness like?
So this is very interesting, because what you're saying is that basically, and I understand this very well now. Basically, what she's saying is that the moment you have a sexual relationship with someone else, that you are basically creating a energy field with that person as well.
Yes. And everybody else that they've been with.
Okay? Also. So that is interesting. So because that
of all the various medical distortions within the womb, within prostate, within ovaries, I mean, the whole 9 yards is very substantive. Okay. And there is an energy relationship. There's an energy template that is co-creating this.
Yeah.
And it's more trauma.
It's more trauma. Yeah. It is like a source for trauma, because you have so much. That is something that I can even relate to some of the people that I know around me that have been sleeping around, and then but when I talk to them, they seem so off sometimes. They are so confused, and and it's in the female realm. It's a very sad thing to experience, to be honest, because a lot of women they don't have order in their mind. And I think this, and what you're saying right now, that is something that is worthy to research more. I think it's going to be awesome to understand that your sexual energy can be misused, and basically it's used for trauma as well.
Absolutely, I talk about that a lot. About the dynamics of the masculine and feminine in my book. I mean, there's a whole thing about it. The whole thing about sacred feminine, and also the trauma of the divine masculine. as expressed in men. They're
Yeah.
sort of throwaway, expendable quality. Where we just feel entitled. He's a guy; he can fucking do it.
Yeah, yeah, and basically you should. I mean, we are so worried about what other people think instead of being worried about what does natural law say about some
Right.
things, or what is the right behavior? Because that is basically what we should aiming for the right behavior instead of following the narrative of like the news or whatever the fuck people are saying out there. So
Yeah.
we really need to focus on what is the right. So they say right is might, not the other way around. Okay. So yeah. So but Marja, we will have to finish in a few minutes. But I would love to hear from you. What are like the self-inquiry exercises that we can do to start helping us getting out of the mind trauma-based mind control?
Yes. So one of the things that I love to do is I love journaling. If you want the fast track to waking up,
Yeah.
I would suggest journaling. I call it journaling and burning, where you write down specific things that you really are noticing within yourself. And you compassionately write down in detail what these things are through the lens of self awareness, self forgiveness, compassion, empathy, gentleness, not to beat yourself up, because the Matrix has set things up where you have certain experiences. Well, then you're a piece of shit,
Yeah.
and that's what the Matrix wants you to believe, that you are not divine in the flesh, that you are this horrible monster and you don't deserve, and you deserve what you got coming, and there's retribution, all that kind of stuff. Okay.
Yeah.
So I suggest that you get a journal or pads of paper or whatever, and you write out certain things that you notice about yourself that really bother yourself through the lens, I said, of compassion, of empathy, of self-forgiveness. And then you write until you can't write anymore. You put it away for 24 to 36 hours. You bring it out again. You look at it, you revise it. And then here's what I want you to do. I want you to burn it. Okay. And with the intention that when you burn this journaling exercises, what you're doing is you're integrating the polarities that you've just spilled onto the paper.
Yeah.
I love myself. I hate myself. I did it. Am I worthy? I'm not worthy. I am worthy. I'm not, this back and forth. And by burning it, you are integrating all those aspects, because we are all those aspects. Okay.
Yeah.
It's not one or the other. And when we do that, what you are doing is that you are really, moving into the place of this higher awareness that you are God, goddess, all that is. You are masculine and feminine. You are being and doing. You're balancing your suffering with pleasure. You are a creator and a destroyer, because sometimes we need to destroy things. And here's the thing about journaling. I know people that journal and have these journal books, and they save them, they put them in storage, and it's the same fucking shit over and over again. Get rid of that stuff. Get rid of that stuff. Because you are just locking yourself in to this same old
bullshit
story, and you're not evolving. You're holding yourself captive, and you're reactivating again and again your traumas.
So I have a question here. Let's see if we can answer it. And what about the transgender? So
what? I don't understand the question.
I don't know. either. I think maybe they are talking about
that's a huge thing.
That's another
mind control right there.
Can of worms.
It's a wacky can of worms.
It's a red can of worms. I personally don't have no problem with preferences. People can have their preferences what they want.
Me neither. I've had a girlfriend and a boyfriend at the same time. So, I mean, we do what we do to discover what is the truth.
Yeah. So precisely. So you have to have conscious experiences And it doesn't matter. I would even say it doesn't even matter if it is in the eyes of many something bad, as long as it doesn't hurt someone else,
Yes.
right? And it helps the cause of your experience. I would say you can try it and learn from it.
Yes.
That is something that is there is a lot of things that people say to me, say, but I don't want to try that because I'm not interested in trying that. Okay, so you don't have to be forced to do anything.
Yeah.
You just need to be yourself and say, okay, this one I really want to try it. And we have also another. I don't think this is a question. It's more like a comment that says people that have that sex around and don't care for each other are those who are frustrated. Yeah. So yeah, that is something that I'm seeing. I'm experiencing that.
Yeah.
But I don't know if that is true for everybody. But I'm listening to you right now, Maria, and I'm starting to have the feeling that it is true for all female. I even think as well for male, to be honest.
Yes, for men as well. I hear all the time. I hear all the time from men that they're tired of having empty sex, and it makes them feel bad. And I know as a woman, my own experience of like, what was that about? Why did I do that? Like, it's not satisfying. It makes me feel icky, and it's not that I see sexuality as negative. It's that it was not in alignment. There was no heart, mind, body, soul coordination
in it. Yeah. So this is so because they are pushing the agenda that way. Yes. So it will break us as well energy wise. So
yes. And it's trying to fill a void. It's trying to avoid the feeling of emptiness rather than addressing, why do I feel empty?
Precisely.
I need a person that I don't even like
to
give me attention, and it's a momentary feeling better, and then you feel like shit again. It doesn't solve any of your traumas. It doesn't feel anything.
So okay, so I think we are going to stop end the show in a few minutes because our time is up. For the question about the transgender, I think we will have to get a show especially we can talk about homosexuality, transgenderness, and all kind of these things. But do know it is a part of the agenda as well. Yes. I'm not neglecting nobody's feeling. I'm not neglecting nobody's preferences. Seeing that, but do understand that. Okay, let's put it this way. I always try to give some examples and see if that will bring over the message. We don't need a gay parade. In Holland, we have this gay parade-ish thing to celebrate gayness. I would say because we don't need the gayness to recognize a gay person. The same way we don't need a heterosexual parade to provide a place for the heteros in the community. We don't, and I know this sounds silly. So but you're not the ones that they how do you call it that they are targeting towards, or that they are killing or abusing. It is us. I get it, but do understand that in the totality of the matrix bullshit that we are experiencing, that not only the gays are getting targeted, everybody is getting targeted with all kinds of bullshit. The idea is to get out of it, get out of these thinking patterns, get out of these bullshit ideas, and start recognizing truth and give truth a chance. Because that's the thing as well. People hear the truth, and then even if the truth says, look, I'm going to make you free, but they still believe the shit, they still believe the garbage, and they still walk in garbage and act in ignorance. So I think that's all for today, guys. Thank you, Myra. Again, I'm honored every time you come. Next week, we're going to be talking about the third movie of The Matrix, which is Matrix Revolution, and it talks about how we can get out of the Matrix. And then we will have Marja again, and then Marja going to tell us how we can get out of the Matrix. So I'm very excited about that show as well, Marja. I'm going to tell you right now already.
Thank you so much. I'm excited as well. Thank you for
So,
having me.
is there anything else you want to say to the audience before we go?
I'm no longer on the Instagram.
Oh yeah.
So
Oh yeah.
find me on YouTube, Love, Truth, and Beauty. That's my channel. Or my website, which is LoveTruth&Beauty.com. That's my only website. So,
Okay. Thank you. Okay. Evan, no worries. Thank you for being here. And also, I also want to say to the audience that there are like 4 imposters of Marja going around there on the internet. So this is the true Marja.
this is me. Just me.
Yeah, and then they are giving as well services in her name. So be careful out there. So she's doing something good. That's why they are copying her material, copying her. But guys, thank you for everything. Oké, bedankt voor het luisteren, mensen. We zien elkaar weer volgende week, dezelfde tijd. Tot ziens.